fund payroll, things like that with companies, because when you have a startup, everybody thinks the first thing they need is, hey, we need money. Well, that may not be the answer. You may need to have manufacturing. You may need to have a sales force. You may need to have, somebody that's going to fund purchase orders. Whatever. Silicon Valley Bank would be the one to write the checks for this. And this robotics company, to give you an idea, that doesn't have, the employees are not getting paid today. This is huge. This is the beginning of this, guys. But this is the beginning of the banking nightmare. But Silicon Valley Bank is such a huge company when it comes to innovation for medical, biotech, anything industrial, robotics, everything like this. I mean, AI, everything. It's
yeah.
huge.
So we're down here having a business meeting, working on something really exciting that we're going to bring to you guys in the future here, hopefully in the next year. But there's so much happening in the banking industry. I actually have a story that I want to cover around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Pacific, because there's another bank run going on, but I have to still vet the information and get some more information about that. So it's not just this bank. And like Dan says, this is going to have massive implications, not only to the employees that aren't being paid, but what you have to understand is what's going on right now is they're trying to stop and contain this.
This is a contagion, guys. It's going to be a huge problem. And what you're going to see when it comes to banking is that, let's put it this way. Let's say that a startup has 4 or 5 different banks that they're relying on, lines of credit. You're going to see these other banks that are going to say, hey, wait a second, I know you got $318,000 left to your line of credit. We're going to cap it at the $18,000. You're going to see problems start to happen right now when it comes to banking. And again, one thing I'll warn you guys is go to the bank and get some cash out of the bank. Make sure, based on your lifestyle, that you have enough cash that you could live for 7 days, 10 days, long enough without having to rely on your debit card, your credit cards, or anything. Because there's going to be a point in time, like Greg Manarino says, where everything's going to shut off, and that's going to be the end of it. And you're going to have a serious banking crisis. This is the beginning of it. And man, oh man, I mean, we're watching history again, right before our eyes.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at the Federal Reserve's overnight bank lending rate, and it's been, really creeping up over the last year or so because of the Federal Reserve fund rate raising, right? But what we're looking for is a spike in the overnight lending rate where that banks do not trust each other. Now, to explain really quick how the overnight lending works, and then we're going to get into the story about the FDIC. Banks have to, at the end of the day, do an account for how much money was brought in on deposits and how much went out in the form of various loans. They do this accounting, and then they have to hold to a certain standard that the Federal Reserve sets. They do change the needle every once in a while due to crisis times, and they have a certain reserve ratio requirement that they have to keep. So then, overnight lending rate, they go to other banks and borrow money, and then they pay them a specific rate of return. Right now, that has not spiked. I do expect that to happen because as we see more and more bank runs happening, the government now stepping in, you're going to see banks not trust each other, and it's a game of who's the weakest one in the room. We don't want to get caught.
Absolutely. But the other thing to think about, guys, is that this is not Fred's bank. This is not some little podunk bank. This is a player. This is an innovative player in Silicon Valley that is affecting hundreds of, if not thousands of companies today are dramatically affected by this right now.
Totally.
And this is something that everybody needs to be aware of, because this is just the beginning of this thing, of the dominoes crashing, and this is it right now.
Yeah. Now, we stopped our day-long business meeting to bring you guys breaking news, and I'm going to read over these announcements right now. If you guys like breaking news and people that are trying to get you information before it's hitting the mainstream, please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. 517 people that hit the thumbs up button. Check this out. FDIC put out the SVB Bank closed by California regulator. Then we see the SVB Bank is first insured initial. Sorry, I'm totally getting.
No, go ahead.
Live. This is how you mess up. SVB Bank is first insured institution to fail this year. I love how they use the word first. So,
but also, guys, once again, this is not some little tiny bank in Des Moines, Iowa. This is a player that affects everything when it comes to innovation, and it's not just medical, it's not just AI, it's EV cars, it's all this tech, it's all this innovation. These guys, I'm telling you, every JP Morgan event, every medical event, every biotech event, these guys were players at this. These guys were the kids you wanted to get money from because they were just the go-to bank right now.
Check this out. FDIC says FDIC creates a deposit insurance, National Bank of Santa Clara. FDIC named Federal Deposit Insurance, FDIC, as receiver. FDIC creates a deposit insurance, National Bank of Santa Clara. Right now, the FDIC is in panic mode, and I will tell you this. The FDIC does not have enough money to backstop all of the deposits in the banks. As a matter of fact, under Bill Clinton and the deregulation of banks, the FDIC started to really only insure certain specific bank accounts. Now that changes from time to time, and it's done very secretly. But if you were living through the 2008 Great Recession, I want to remind you of something that George Bush said. When the crisis was hitting fever pitch, he came out and he said, I want to assure you that the government is going to back all deposits, because there was a massive run going on the banks. FDIC does not have enough money. They're not capitalized enough to take care of this. So you're literally watching FDIC putting out things saying, literally, we created a deposit insurance, National Bank of Santa Clara. They are trying their hardest to stop this contagion.
And then again, this is something that I'm sure your audience is as educated as mine,
Yep.
that you guys have understand this, that the banking system is now what they call fragmented banking. So you have, it used to be back in the day that they had to keep a large percentage of your deposit. You'd put your money in the bank, get your paycheck, and they had to maintain a huge chunk of that. That's gone down to where I think it's basically 1%. They don't have to keep your money in the bank right now. It's ridiculous. They can lend it out. And if you've noticed, in 2023, we're seeing more shenanigans where the banks are charging fees for every single thing that they can.
Yeah.
And they think about this. I've gotten, in the last week, I've gotten over a dozen people that have written me about their credit unions and their banks limiting their purchasing power with their debit card. I had a guy that had $300,000 in an account, and they won't let him spend more than $500 a day. It's done.
Yeah.
It's finished.
First off, guys, we're literally almost 800 thumbs up. Thank you so much for that. Check this out. All insured depositors will have full access to their insured deposits no later than Monday morning. So as of right now, people do not have access to their money in this bank. March 13th of 2023, the FDIC will pay uninsured depositors. Think about what they just
Said.
told you. You are not insured with your money in the bank. This is why it is so vital when we do videos entitled them Get Your Money Out of the Bank. We're not talking about pulling all of your money out of the bank. You actually need money in banks right now to do business. We are both businessmen. We own multiple businesses. We do all kinds of things. We can't do it with cash. We can't do it with gold and silver coins. There's a purpose for that, right? For dry powder, for investing in gold and silver against, inflation, craziness, or a collapse, right? But you have to understand right now, what you do is you have multiple banks. I mean, I've got literally, I want to say 7 different banks. And each of those banks have multiple different types of accounts. Some that are Some that are insured, some that are not. But this is what they're saying right now. We are going to insure the uninsured depositors, that they will receive a receivership certificate for the remaining amount of their uninsured funds.
Hey guys, here's a coupon for your money. Here's a coupon.
Yeah.
Hey honey, don't worry, we're getting a coupon next week. Think about how insane that is.
As the FDIC sells the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, future dividend payments may be made to uninsured depositors.
Future dividend payments, guys. Think about this.
Yeah, this is so serious.
Hey,
First
what side is your camera on this?
It's right here,
Okay,
right there.
good.
Hey, first off, I want to say thank you so much to Philippe for the super chat. Check
that's
this out.
solid. Oh,
Appreciate the channel. Why does the Fed have gold vaulted on the balance sheet for $42 per troy ounce and not the market rate? I got a great answer to this. This doesn't make sense. Okay, the reason why that's still on their balance sheet, the Federal Reserve literally loads gold. I want you to understand that when you're dealing with first off, a company, a private bank that is not federal and has no reserves, it is combating the value and the perception of value in gold and silver. All right, they don't need to change the value of that. The government's done a really good job of coercing and hiding the facts about gold, reaching, well, for centuries, but really in earnest when the Federal Reserve came into being in the early 1900s. They don't want you to understand the value of gold, and they don't like it when gold goes up, so they manipulate the interest rate markets to bring gold down, to suppress it. But what we've seen in the last few years is gold is coming out of its box. It is unchained right now. I mean, and there still will be a sell-off in the paper price as the markets wane, because large institutions sell their insurance because of things right now. There are hedge funds that are literally hemorrhaging money that are attached to these financial institutions, and they don't have access to it. So what do? They sell their insurance, they sell their gold. But that's why the Federal Reserve does not like showing. They show the gold on their balance sheet, but they don't show it at the current price. Go ahead, jump in.
No, I just think that, guys, this is, we've been giving warnings for, you've been doing it for a year, I've been doing it for a year, and I just think that people need to understand that these financial institutions are their finances are precarious. They run some of these companies in a very, very horrible way, and they've made risky investments, and now it's coming down. It's done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Denise, for the super chat. Let's do this. We are literally just crossed 1,000 thumbs up. Thank you so much, because this is what get this information out. Check this out. Silicon Valley Bank had 17 branches in California and Massachusetts. The main office and all branches of Silicon Valley Bank will reopen on Monday, March 13th. We're literally witnessing a mini bank holiday in America right now. Think about that.
Absolutely. But people don't get this, and but think about this, guys. A lot of people, if they didn't have money for 3 days, they have a real problem this weekend.
Well, not only that, let's say you owe bills. Now you have to go to your creditors and go, hey, sorry, I can't pay you today. I was supposed to pay my bill at last minute, and now I got to pay with my online banking. It says even online banking is frozen right now, right? This is why we've been telling people you have multiple banks. See, when the banking collapse happens, it's not going to beat all the banks. The Federal Reserve will stop it at a certain point. They allowed Lehman Brothers to be the sacrificial
lamb.
Yeah,
Just done.
And they did that on purpose. They had to stop the bleeding somewhere, and then they bolstered the other banks, right? Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, all these other large institutions took the good parts of the banks, and you know where the crappy part went? And this is what really pisses me off. They bundled them up, and they pushed those crappy assets onto the Fed balance sheet, and then slowly it gets pushed off into your pension fund. If people realized how much crap assets, like mortgage-backed securities, the really shitty ones, sorry, I should have said that, but the real crappy ones, where they loaned money to people with less than stellar credit, less than stellar job history and payment history, and they put that stuff in bundles, and they salted over people's pension funds. You would be getting a much higher rate of return if you took just that away.
Okay, now let's take a step further. This bank was the cream of the crop, guys. This is the company that if you've got a shady startup, you're not that, your innovation isn't that proven, you cannot get money from Silicon Valley Bank. They only dealt with the best. That's why when you look at like the top 40 startups in the country, I would venture to say half, if not 3/4, had funding from this company, from this bank.
Well, let's talk about that. As of December 31st, and guys, just so you know, I'm just throwing this challenge out. I want to see if we can get to 2,000 thumbs up. That would be awesome. As of December 31st, 2022, Silicon Valley Bank had approximately $209 billion in total assets and about $175 billion in total deposits. Now, again, we're talking about that reserve ratio. That's what these banks need to keep. They always need to keep. Now, that's high. Just so you know, that's a really high amount. That's really well capitalized.
But think about that. Things went south between that and the first week of March.
Yes.
I mean, it's just done, guys. Think about how quick this can go down.
Yes.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Look at this F1 5150 Prepper. Thank you so much for the super chat. Give Bam Bam and Slick thumbs up. I am Bam Bam today. Just so you know, this is how I woke up this morning. That was the first time you touched my hair, so I don't care about how I look in front of you guys. We just care about bringing you guys the real information.
No, but this is just breaking news, and
we're so pumped.
No, it's just. But you guys, you guys take the advice. Take the advice. Clean up your finances. Get yourself out of debt. But look at where you're at right now, and look at your relationship with your bank.
Look at this right here. Customers with accounts in excess of $250,000 should contact the FDIC toll-free.
Oh, yeah.
But I want people to understand that little plaque that's at your bank, just so you know, that number has actually changed in the past. It used to be higher, then they lowered it. And people don't realize that. They need to read the plaque. Not all the accounts in that bank that the plaque is mounted to are insured by the FDIC. The last time I checked, the ones that were solid were savings accounts not tied to any other account. And that was the key. Now, that could have changed, but people need to understand that. Now, Do I have over 200? Yes, I do. But do I have it all in one bank? No, I don't.
You know what's funny, guys, is I did, I think it was about it was definitely after the first of the year where I showed the FDIC has a website and has basically kind of an online app where you can fill it out and they will tell you if your money's insured or not. And a lot of people did this and found out, oh, wow, our money's not protected. Yep. So, guys, this is this is gonna, you don't want to panic. You just want to take care of yourself and make sure that you've made preparations. Yep. And again, what would you do if you didn't have money for 3 days? Some people would say, I couldn't care less. Yep. Then there's people that are going to be dramatically affected. What if it was 7 days? What if it was 10 days? In the last 6 months, we have seen internet outages. We've seen bank problems. Truist Bank had a problem. All these different banks in the South had days where they had 10 and 12 days without online banking. And it's a mess, guys.
And I'm going to bring another bank to you around 2 o'clock Pacific time today. I just got a little bit more vetting to do, and we've got to get back to work. But we wanted to stop and tell you about this. And thanks again. We're at almost 1,500 thumbs up. Thank you so much. Right now, out of the hedge, they throw out a tweet. At what time does JP Morgan offer to buy SIVB for $2? and this is what's really scary.
Oh my God, that could be the greatest.
Oh, Jamie Dimon's just sitting back going, excellent. He's like right now.
Oh my God, that blue blood. East Coast fat cat. I'm sick of Jamie Dimon.
Smithers, come tell me exactly. I should buy them.
Exactly. Us peasants out there that have to deal with Jamie Dimon.
Mr. Diamond, why don't you buy it for $3? No, it'll be $2.
Who are you? Why are you speaking to me?
Yeah. Sir? Now listen, the reason why we can joke around about this kind of stuff because this is very serious things. Like we just got off the phone with somebody, and let's highlight that again.
Okay.
Tell him again because so many people jumped on.
This man, we promised we wouldn't give his name, but he is a subscriber of mine, and he works for a robotics company that has a relationship with their payroll is done through Silicon Valley Bank, and a couple hundred employees did not get their paychecks today, and they see this as being a huge problem. And this is going to be the first of many companies you're going to hear about this.
Yeah, and the reason why we want to, and the thing is we've been warning people how to get ready. One easy step is to diversify your bank accounts. It's so easy. And I want you to understand too,
I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ha Rakah Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders which rule great millstone well. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abba ball. Alright? So you got a major bank, and in fact a couple banks shutting down. Alright? And the FDIC coming in to clean up the mess, which they're not going to get their money pretty much. Alright? This is what's going to cause 2nd Esdras 15 to take place. Alright? They're gonna cause problems because of their pride. It says in 2nd Esdras 15 verse 18, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation, which the so-called white man, the wicked, all right, the one that rule the world, the Illuminati, the bankers, all right, your politicians, they're controlling the world and they're ruling it in a wicked way where the people mourn. And that's how you know the wicked are empowered. It says when the wicked are empowered, the people mourn, and when the righteous are empowered, the people rejoice. And they just told you on that video that millions of people could be in mourning because they cannot access their money inside a bank that actually had large amounts of money. You had to have a lot of money to have your money in that bank. And this bank just went under. And it's a West Coast bank in the United States. And what's going to happen is when people lose faith in that dollar, they're going to bring out the MOTB, the implantable microchip, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. It's prophesied in Revelation 13. And we'll just get to 16 and 17. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name it says, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And you get that by taking that device, allowing them to implant it inside your body so that you could buy or sell, which is an abomination. Alright, and they're going to bring this order, this new world order, that everybody has to be implanted with a microchip for buying and selling. They're going to bring this through chaos. And the chaos is going to bring the people to their knees. There's going to be famine, pestilence, violence, all kinds of different plagues that come with this. Because we are at the end of the so-called white man's reign, the time he was allowed to rule, and now his time is over. So it says that he's going to come down with great wrath, knowing that he has but a short time. And in fact, it's the Lord using this devil, the so-called white man, to punish them that live wickedly. In 2nd Ezra 15, verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword, the so-called white man, and their destruction draweth nigh, which they're going to come down with great wrath. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Which I just read to you that you're going to have sedition. You're going to have them invading one another for the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And you're going to have world war, which eventually will lead to a war in heaven when Yahweh comes to deliver his elect and to destroy the oppressor and their wicked society, starting with America being nuked right off the face of the world. And then the world will be established in righteousness under the elect of the nation of Israel, which the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. So this is a sign of Esau's time running out, because once they try to bring this new world order, which is a new form of slavery, it's the end of them. Lamentations 4 and verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. And that's why this society's crumbling. It's no longer needed to punish the Israelites, because you have the hopeful elect standing upon their feet, establishing righteousness. Now the 2/3, they're going to perish with the heathen. But this wicked society is no longer needed, so the Lord's going to destroy it. in a way that gives his name glory through his son, Yahushai. Alright? It says, O daughter of Zion, talking about the prophets that are the memorial to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. So his new world order is going to fail. He will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So now the devil, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, they're going to be put in slavery under the Israelites after their society is wiped right off the face of the earth. They're going to be put in slavery for 1,000 years, as well as the rest of the nations, the heathen. Alright, the Lord's judgment is upon all the heathens' heads. They're going to get as they had done, it's going to be given back to them. And they're going to be enslaved under the Israelites. Alright, we're going into a transition of a new era, an era of righteousness. Where we live now is under the wicked, the so-called white man, the red devil, and that's why everything's in chaos. The people mourn because the wicked are ruling. When the righteous are ruling, which the righteous are the Israelite elect men, alright, the people will rejoice. But this is evidence that the wicked are the so-called white man, and they are in power today. Soon Yahushua will return after they make that device mandatory for buying and selling, which is the size of a grain of rice. And they want to make it mandatory that you have it implanted in your body for buying and selling. Yahushua will fight for us and deliver us and put our oppressors under us. All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Ha-Rakah Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders which rule great millstone wow. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure to the end. Shalom wa abba.